All right, guys, welcome to lesson 2.5. In terms of the actual notes you take, it's going to be very short, but algebraically, it'll probably be some of the more complicated problems that we do. So what happens here is we've been solving right triangles, and we said to solve a right triangle, you need three pieces of information. You need the right angle, one piece, and then two other pieces of information, and you can solve the triangle. Okay, what's going to turn out is this other fact here. Sometimes you're not given three pieces of information, but if you're given two triangles, then there are certain situations where you can still solve the triangle that without maybe complete information, but you can use one triangle to give you the information for the second triangle, end up solving the second triangle. So for an example here, let's have a right angle here. Oops, that's kind of a right angle. There we go, a right angle here. Let's look for this side right here. Let's call this H. And let's say this angle right in here is 49.2 degrees. All right. Now, if I wanted to solve that inner triangle, you would say, wait, you don't have enough information. You have two angles, you have no sides. So this inner triangle by itself, I do not have enough information to solve it. There's no way I can figure out H as it stands right now. But notice we have a second triangle. And in this second triangle, let's say this angle is 41.2. Makes sense. It's not as big as the other one. And again, by itself, you say, well, that's not enough to solve the outer blue triangle. That's still not enough because I've got an angle and a right angle, and that's it. So then we get a third piece of information. I'm just going to take off that blue for a second here. Well, actually, I'll leave it. Then we get a third piece of information. It's not quite, doesn't seem quite like enough, but we're going to let it be enough. And that other piece of information is this distance right here between the two is 168. All right. And this is going to be enough to solve the triangle, or at least to find H. Okay, how do we begin this? Well, we wish we had this side right here. Let's call it X. And let's focus first on our smaller green triangle, this one right here. Don't know side X, don't know side H. I do know this angle. And how does it relate to H and X? Well, there's opposite adjacent. So I could write for the green triangle, I can write the tangent. And it's going to be the tangent of 49.2 equals H over X. No big deal on that one. Okay, so that's my first equation. Second equation, I'm looking at the blue triangle. So now I've got this outer triangle. I've got this side here, which would be a total of 168 plus X. I still have my H side over here. So my second function on my blue triangle will be the tangent. And this time the tangent is of 41.2 degrees. It equals H. And this time it's over 168 plus X. All right, guys. Two unknowns, H and X. I've got two triangles. I can solve this. It's going to take a little bit of algebra, but I can solve it. All right, let's take equation 1, and we treat it as a proportion. Cross multiply. So equation 1 is going to give me H equals X times the tangent of 49.2. Similarly, equation 2, I'll cross multiply, and I will get H equals 168 plus X, and here's where the algebra comes in a parenthesis, times the tangent of 41.2. Guys, first equation gave us H. Second equation gave us H. We can put these together because they both equal H, and I can write the first equation. So X tangent of 49.2 must equal the second equation, because look, they both equal H. So it must equal 168 plus X times the tangent of 41.2. What are we trying to do? We're trying to solve for X. Well, let's distribute over here on the right side. So I've got x times the tangent of 49.2 equals 168 times the tangent of 41.2. No x's there. And x times the tangent of 41.2. All right, get all our x's on one side. Let's get them on the left side. So I've got x tangent 49.2. I'll bring over the other one, so minus x tangent 41.2. Those point twos are a little annoying. And what does it equal? 168 tangent 41.2. Left side, what do? They have an x in common. Factor it out. X tangent 49.2 minus tangent 41.2 equals 168 tangent 41.2. Don't you just love algebra? And our last step here, solve for x. I'll divide. I get x equals 168 tangent 41.2 divided by the quantity. I'll put a parenthesis just as a reminder. Tangent 49.2 minus tangent 41.2. All right, let's get a number for that. Pull out your calculator. Where'd mine go? There it is. And let's see what we get for this. Clear that out of here. So I've got a 168. We've got a tangent 41.2. Close my tangent parenthesis, divided by, open up the parenthesis, tangent 49.2, close my tangent parenthesis, but not my fraction parenthesis, minus tangent 41.2, close my tangent parenthesis and my fraction parenthesis, and I get x equals 500. If we round that, let's go 520 for x. So x equals 520. Congratulations, you're done. No, you're not done. That was x. That wasn't the question. The question was find h. That was our initial question back up here, not x, find h. Well, that's not so bad, though, because remember right here we rewrote equation 1. H is x times the tangent of 49.2. We just found x. Where was that at? There was x. Let's take this times the tangent of 49.2, and that will give us our h. Done. So 602 if we round that. So h equals 602. Now we truly are done. So h equals 602. Not bad. Here's a second example. It's really the same problem, just with some extra words in here, but it turns out it's really the same problem. Oops, got that extra picture on there. Take that off. Okay, let me extend that just a little bit so we have some space. All right, the angle of elevation from a point on the ground to the top of a water tower is 24 degrees. As we read this question, we'll realize they're talking about this angle right here, 24 degrees. All right, when you walk, oops, my bad. That was not the one they were talking about, was it? They were talking about this angle. And how do we know that? Because I should have kept reading. When you walk towards the tower. So now I'm going to walk 100 feet closer to the tower. Makes sense, the angle gets steeper. Now it's 30 degrees. Find the height of the tower. So here's our h, here's our x. Similar procedure as the first. Let's go with the green triangle. And let's say we can fit a lot of it here. What's the tangent of 30? Looks like h over x. Let's go with the big blue triangle. We'll keep our color coding here. What's the tangent of 24 degrees? 24, try that again. H over x plus 100. First equation, cross multiply. H equals x times the tangent of 30. Second equation, cross multiply. H equals x plus 100 times the tangent of 24. Right, this is all just like the previous problem. And you might even think, can't I just memorize an equation out of here? And it turns out you could if you want to memorize it. Okay, both those equal h. I'm not going to tell you what it is that you're memorizing, but you might look and see what you could memorize. So I've got x times the tangent of 30 equals x plus 100 times the tangent of 24. Our goal is to solve for x. Don't forget on this side, let's distribute. So x tangent of 30 equals x tangent of 24 plus 100 tangent of 24. That part stays right over there. I'll bring the x tangent of 24 to the left side. So I get x tangent of 30 minus x tangent of 24 equals 100 tangent of 24. Factor out the x. I've got the tangent of 30 minus the tangent of 24 equals over here 100 tangent of 24. How do I get x by itself? I divide. And so here again you might look and say, oh, I could just memorize where to put all these numbers because it's the same form as the last problem. 100 tangent of 24, the small angle, and then subtract the big angle minus the little angle. All right, let's get our height. Pop that into our calculator. 100, let's clear that old problem out. 100 tangent 24 divided by, and I've got tangent of 30, close my tangent parenthesis, minus tangent 24, close both parentheses, and there we go, 337. Oh shoot, that was x. No big deal. Come back up here. What was h? It was x times the tangent of 30. Pull out that calculator. Take this times tangent of 30. And now, guys, you are done. So h is 195 if we round it. So the height equals a rounded 195. That completes our video, and that completes this lesson.